Have you ever thought, boy, I need to pray for patience? Well, my friend, maybe that's something you don't want to pray for, because when you pray for patience, you're praying for trouble, difficulties, trials, tribulations. Matter of fact, that's why James in James chapter 1 says, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into divers or many different types of trials and tribulations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith produces patience." Well, one of the themes that has jumped out at me today in the book of James is this theme of patience. Patience. Don't we all need patience? In America, we have become an impatient people. Well, maybe the whole world has become an impatient world. If you've ever traveled like I have through the airports of the world, oh my goodness, wherever you're at, whatever country you're in, you run into impatient people. They can't wait to get in front, to get the first seat, to get going on the next plane. And so impatience is a terrible thing that we seem to be plagued with these days. We want it now. That's why we go to the fast food restaurants that have such terrible food. We'll settle for terrible food so we can get it now. Oh, we're so impatient. Well, that's what the book of James seems to be about. Isn't it funny? I shouldn't say funny, but isn't it interesting that he starts out this book with patience, count it all joy when you fall into these tribulations. The trying of your faith works patience. And then now as we finish the book, chapter 5, he's speaking again about patience. So actually the whole book seems to have this interwoven theme, how we need to be patient with ourselves. God's at work. He's not through with us yet. We need to be patient with other people that are around us that maybe could irritate us. Be patient with the rich who exploit us. And that's what he's dealing with here in chapter 5, because the rich farmers were taking advantage of the poor laborers. They would promise them a certain wage, then at the end of the day, they didn't keep their promise. And so he tells them here, be patient, my brothers. Remember, Jesus is coming again, and he will straighten up this mess that you're having to deal with. Be patient. And so he says, do you need an example of patience? Then he goes on further. He says, take for an example of suffering and patient, brothers, the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. So look through the Old Testament and you'll find that you can take the prophets who suffered and yet they had patience. And then he says, if you really want to see a example of suffering, have you considered Job? Job and his patience, who when he suffered, he saw the purpose of the Lord. And when we see the purpose of the God and the Lord in the midst of our suffering, what do we see? Well, he says, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. Now, the last verse in this section, he says, now don't swear either by heaven or earth, and let your yes be yes and your no, no. And basically he's saying this. He says, keep your promises. The rich people didn't keep their promises, but I want to tell you, God always keeps his promises. And God's promise is that he is a merciful and compassionate God. No matter what I'm facing today, no matter what I'm going through today, I have a God who cares about me. I have a God who wants to help me. Look at Job. Job lost his family, his children, all of them were killed in one day. He lost all of his wealth. His wife tells him to curse God and die. Consider the patience of Job. And he still said, though the Lord slay me, yet will I trust him. I know that my Redeemer lives. In the last day, I will come forth as gold after I've been tried. I'm telling you, consider the patience of Job. Remember, God keeps his promises, and God will keep his promise to you today. In the midst of your trial, your trouble, your tribulation, people have failed to keep their promises, but you, he says, be like God. You keep your promises. Let your yeses be yes and your noes no, and you will see the hand of the Lord and the compassionate and love of Jesus Christ keeping you in the midst of your trials. Oh, be encouraged today. Be patient. Jesus is coming soon. And the only reason he hasn't come back, he's waiting for one more, and that might be you, to invite him into your heart and into your life. God bless, and you have a wonderful day.